Okay, so here I am in Prescott. God, it's been a long time because I've been in Northern California and Arkansas, Florida fishing, and so I'll be spending a lot of time here and out in the desert during the cooler months. But I've been digging through this organic layer, and then when I start hitting this kind of off-colored dirt is when I'll start just basically skimming that material. But in these spots, I've had, all along Lynx Creek, I've had multi-gram days when I find the off-colored soil. It's not as off-colored as I like, but that's the beginning of it. But I am going to spend the night. I got up here in the afternoon, so we'll see how we do, because I'll have time to do a few test pans here. If I don't find what I want, I can make a move, and there's many other places to have a look at. All right, well, I'm just kind of trenching on down, and we're getting what we want. It's super dense, and you can see the coloration. You can clearly see it's really dense, and it's clay. It's like clay, but it doesn't adhere the way clay does. I found really good gold values, or I found gold adjacent to it. So, and I have dug in this hole before, and I know there was a day, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago now, where I had 3 people with pans, and my daughter, her boyfriend, and my girlfriend at the time. I kept them busy all day, and everyone pretty much got a gram, and they got some nice chunk pieces. So this was what I decided to do when I saw that the creek was essentially dry. I did 2.5 gallon buckets. They were 3/4 full. I don't know how well you can see, but we are getting some gold. It's not what I hoped for. I thought it would be better, but it's really not so bad. It's chunky, and so if this shot comes in good, you get a look. I'm going to go get a couple more buckets and then head to camp, and then tomorrow decide what to do. So, not bad, it's a start. We'll see. Okay, as you can see, I'm on a tailing pile, and I'm digging in the same general area. One of the things I always do when I'm out and about is I always dig some samples from tailing piles. With regards to this one, I just removed an exceptionally large rock compared to, the remainder of the area here, and just took a sample from beneath it. There's always gold in these tailing piles. It's just that you would need a backhoe and a trommel and a crew, and you could process them, and maybe you would do okay, but I don't know. I'm sure there's spots on these where there's some pretty good values. So I always hope, I look for the larger rocks, and if I find something great, and if not, it's cool, I checked it. But the old timers, they miss the bigger stuff. I mean, some of it here and there, stuff we would think is larger, but to them, it wasn't worth the effort. So I don't know, we'll see. So anyways, I'm all settled in. This is the campground. I'm staying at Lynx. The Lynx campground. There's some other people. There I am. It's a pretty relaxed, nice little campground. I've got some water there, and although it's much better to go down to a river and get your own water, and still it's a nice little place. It's well kept. The host is they're nice people, and it's not crowded. So, and of course I've got a Prescott liquid amber made here in town. And it's a pretty decent beer, not bad. So I have a couple of these, and I just enjoy the piece. Pretty darn nice. Alright, well, it's morning. I got started here about 8 o'clock. I started following my line down this creek, but kind of adjacent to a bank that I've actually dug under in the past years ago. And so I removed some material just to test it. Then I'm going back into the hole I was yesterday. I decided to come back here because there's a prescribed burn where I wanted to work today. Now I've hit this large boulder which acted as an obstacle, and I'm starting to get some better material. I'm starting to get the red stuff and some very compacted sand and gravel. And all this loose stuff I'm just piling up here. I like this sink spot, but my nephew and I dug in it about 8 years ago, which was a good day. He thinks you can make a living doing this. But anyways, so I'll go ahead and pan the 2 buckets I have and see if we're continuing to get about what we got yesterday, hopefully better, but it wasn't bad. There's a lot of really fine material in there, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep all the black sand as well. So right now I'm digging below a culvert. I'm trying to have a really mixed bag day and see where I get what. But this is below a major mine that operated, I think, until the 42 closure. And so what I'm doing is, I know for a fact that gold used to run from the waste areas across the road, because I found it all over here and including in the road. And so what I do is I dig down to the deeper levels. I remove, some rocks, and then I try to find these deep spots to try to get the older, more compacted material. And sometimes I find some cool gold, and sometimes I don't find anything. So I'm doing that right now. And I don't know, we'll pan it out in a little bit. Check it out. Alright, so anyways, I didn't have enough time to go where I wanted to go, so I'm going to work some bedrock here. And someone's been here. I've been here and I found really good gold here, but they weren't very thorough, and I can definitely do a little extra on this. Okay, so regardless, I'm pretty much at wit's end. And I'm in this spot, and there's these tiny little micro, flakes here and there. But, this area has generally given up, gold that you look in the pan and immediately, much better pieces. And so I found this little body of bedrock here, and Down below it's shifty. It's very schisty and has like sheets. So I was breaking it up, and miraculously we finally got a decent piece of gold. And so I'll show it to you. Oh man, you can maybe see it from here. It's not huge, but it's super cool, and very unique. And there it is right there. Too bad that's not a piece. But that's a nice little piece of gold, and you can see, I don't know how well you can see with my camera. I think it adjusts pretty well, but so hopefully we can get some more out of that body of bedrock. But it definitely lifts my spirits. So we are at the junction of the two creeks. This is how I finished the day. And so we've got this one flowing in. And it looks like this guy, when it is flowing, slows down when they're meeting, because it looks like there's a lot of lighter material that just drops out here. And so that can be a positive thing. See, that's kind of dusted with like a thin film of mud. So when these join, this sucker slows down, and this would be kind of a drop zone. And if we look right here, we've got the schist, definitely crosses the entire creek. We've got a nice block of bedrock. We make our way up. And we can see these catch zones like this with this bedrock. This is the bedrock I was working at the end of the day. I got a few little pieces, and I got that one bigger piece. I'll work this better, I think, when it's dry. If it doesn't dry, I'll bring in a little hand dredge, and I think I can maybe do a better job. This is the spot that I'm pretty high on, because I've had a few good days here. The gold is big compared to most gold you find, and it's pretty very, very yellow. So we come over here, oh, and I see the gold of the day. I'd say I worked 10 hours, because by the time I set up camp and everything yesterday, I don't know, I had 2.5, 3 hours, and that wasn't bad. I was able to do some pretty substantial digging. It's not a lot of gold, but I don't know, it's gold. And I think it's a challenge to seek out and find it. And if you do find it, you know, you've done what you can do. There's good days, and there's days where you kind of load up, you know, and you get a gram or so. And to me, a gram is a really nice amount of gold, and it's super cool when it just happens with one piece. But it didn't happen today. There's the bigger piece I got over there, and then there's all these little guys. They're not bad. It was still a good time. I enjoyed camping and just being outside. So that's it. We walked the creek at the end, and there's my little trail of gold.